So what's happening now as this story unfolds is rather than talk about it being a drug war, rather than a trade war, rather than talking about all the Americans dying, rather than talking about the threats from terrorism, rather than talking about how illegal alien crime on American citizens crime is out of control, rather than talking about how real wages are going down. And in the government statistics of our own government, which shows millions of illegal aliens have displaced American workers, all we hear about is the danger of a trade war and threats to our economy. And that's wrong, because what we have here, what's different here, your first question, what's different? What's different is we have the experience of the first term, historic tariffs on China, historic renegotiation of trade deals, solar, steel, and aluminum tariffs. All we got was prosperity.
Trump talked about, on the campaign trail, about 60% tariffs on China. Is that still on the table?
Again, I urge everybody to read that presidential memorandum and understand that we are going to proceed in a measured way using investigative studies that will be foundational to the actions taken. Everything is going to be data-driven.
60% isn't super measured, so that's not likely now?
And in that memo, Dasha, what Jamieson Greer is going to do as the USTR is he's going to go back and recalibrate the Section 301 tariffs on China and see exactly what they've been doing. Have they lived up to the Phase 1 agreement that they signed? Have they stopped what I at one point called the 7 deadly sins, and things like intellectual property and currency manipulation, the use of state-owned enterprise? But this is going to be done in a measured way, and it's going to be done in a way that will benefit the American people. And we're not going to get headlines speculating about what the president may or may not do. We're going to let him do his thing, because by now it's trust in Trump. This is the latest example of when he does stuff and it looks like things are a little chaotic. It's not. It's genius, and he delivers. And that's what...
So the chaos is not chaos, is what you're saying?
Not to us.
Let me ask, China announced retaliatory tariffs, right? They're talking about levies of 15% for U.S. coal and LNG, 10% for crude oil, farm equipment, some autos, imposing export controls on 5 key metals, a probe into Google. What should American businesses that rely on these goods prepare for?
Let's see what happens with the call today. We could have sat here yesterday and you would have said the same thing about Mexico.
So there's a possibility that China gets an extension and a delay as well?
It's up to the boss. I never get ahead from the boss. That's why I'm sitting here. If I got ahead of the boss, I never would have lasted this.
美国非常希望他签，我也希望签，快点签，千万别发生什么事儿。只要这个贸易签了，就是新的和平时期的鸦片战争。但是这个鸦片不是个鸦片就是给了美国和西方一个合理的合法理由，我上你家揍你去。这就像苏门莱尼上将 General 在伊拉克一样，我先把你定位为恐怖组织，我打你，我让你让大家看到美军不动手，有些人围堵这个。在伊朗的美国驻伊的这个伊拉克的大使馆，然后你全世界看到了吗？看到了吗？我告诉你了你看到没有？然后派军队过去，然后盯住你，我接着把你干掉，合法吧？合情合理合法。
Very dangerous path we're on. Very dangerous.
That's sir. You know, you as many years ago told CCP is the globally is the threatens terrorism. You talk this.
You know this. In 2006, I wrote The Coming China Wars.
Yes, I see.
In that book, I predicted. I predicted that there would be a pandemic created by China.
Yep.
I predicted that in 2006. I talk about that in my book, in Trump Time. It's why I was sitting in the meeting in January 15, 2020, with the president, and knowing what you had told Steve and everything like that, I'm like very, very fearful about what's about to happen.